Hi everyone, welcome to practice. Happy Tuesday. It's time for yoga together. This is AWH Yoga. My name is Anna. I'm so glad that you've decided to join me tonight. So tonight's practice is going to be focused on the idea of balance. So something that I've been working on this past week or two has been my handstand practice. That is not what I'm going to share with you today, unless you want to watch an entire video of how not to do something, which we can definitely do that. But through the process, I've really been learning a lot about the concept of balance, obviously, and something that I've been working toward is to find that balance point. And it really makes me think about how when we're working through things on our mat and when we're working through life off of our mat, it's so critical to be able to find that balance point. And it's sometimes not easy to find. Sometimes you're over that point, sometimes you're under that point, but there are a couple things that I've really been learning that I wanted to consider throughout our practice this evening as we move through different elements of balance. So you don't have to be doing crazy inversions and handstands to really be working through balance in the body and to help you work through balance points in your life. So one thing that I have certainly noticed is that it's very important to check in with yourself often. So something that may have been working for you during another time of this crazy year, and now that the holidays are here, might not be working anymore. So take that opportunity to check in with yourself and find out if you're balanced with some of those new elements that are going on. So keep that in mind as we move through our 60 minutes together. I definitely think you'd benefit from props this evening, especially a strap if you have it, or 2 blocks. A blanket or a rolled up towel is also always helpful as we move through our practice and into Shavasana. That being said, let's get started on our journey together. Tonight we're going to start on our backs. So finding your way to your back and inviting a sense of heaviness as you allow the ground to support you. Maybe your palms are facing up, your eyes closed, and you're just breathing. As you begin to move into stillness with your body, you'll also start to move into stillness in your inner world, in your mind. Sometimes this can be very challenging, and it takes our mind a little while to catch up to our external body. But the more that we breathe in and out, and the more we allow the earth to support us, the easier it becomes. And now begin to deepen your breath, taking intentional inhales and exhales, allowing the breath to move through the belly, lungs, and the chest, and then back out, chest, lungs, belly. Continue to deliberately track your breath through its journey, knowing that as our practice will intensify throughout our 60 minutes together, it will change There'll be lots of movement, maybe some unpredictability, but our breath will always be there to center and guide us. If you want to add an intention to your practice, this is a beautiful time to add that. An intention can be a word, an emotion, a feeling. It can also be a dedication. And let's seal that intention with one deep breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh out slowly through the mouth. Beautiful. Return to your natural breath. And then I want you to slowly invite some movement into your hands and feet. It's so nice at the beginning of practice when we're really able to center and ground and feel how heavy our limbs are when we start to bring them back to life. And when you're ready, bring your knees into your chest. You can do this one at a time or bring them both in together, and then wrap your arms around your knees, giving yourself a loving hug. Take a deep breath in and exhale out through the mouth. We'll begin to invite a little bit more movement. So move your palms onto the outside of the front of your knees, and then we're going to roll just on the small of our back, and you can move in a clockwise direction or counterclockwise direction to begin. Maybe get 4 or 5 good circles, making that circle a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller, and then making sure that you switch directions and go both ways, always working to be in a symmetrical fashion in our practice. And when you're ready, come back to stillness. And then from here, I want you to lengthen out your right leg and hold your left leg into the chest. And then you can release your hands down and you can extend your left leg down. If you have a strap, or if you're like me and you use this resistance band, grab that now. So from here, what we're going to do is open up the hip a little bit while we're in a supine posture. So bring your right knee and leg up into the air. Foot can be straight up, you can point or flex, it's not important here. Keep some energy in that left leg and then keep that left hip down. And you might have to actually hold on to the hip to see that it's not moving out or popping up. Once you've established that posture, you can actually place your interlace your fingers around the back of your knee. You can move that leg in just a little bit closer. So soft knee or even a bent knee here is totally fine. And the reason we want to do this is honestly to bring the foot closer to the face so that we can put on our strap or our band. So from here, place the strap around the ball of your foot. So you don't want to have it on the arch, more to the front of your foot, so the ball of your foot. And extend the leg back out straight. See if you can straighten the leg at this point. And then take a deep breath here. Exhale out. Maybe keep that left palm on the left hip. And then you're going to extend your right leg out from the hip socket so it is completely to the side. Now for me, I can get about halfway there. Keep breathing until my left hip wants to pop up. So be mindful of that and only go so far as to where your left hip stays on the ground. One more breath. And then on your inhale, bring your leg back up straight. Beautiful. Now switch hands. So we were using our right hand there. Switch the band to your left hand and you can place your right arm outstretched, palm down, or wherever is comfortable for you. We're going to cross our leg over the other way. So moving it down toward the left. Inhale. Exhale, really feel that stretch sort of in your IT bands. Keep that energy in that left leg and that foot flex. Try to keep your shoulder, right shoulder on the floor. One more breath. And then bring your leg slowly back up with control. And back up straight, beautiful. You can remove this strap from your right foot. You can either bring that knee into the chest, take a breath here, and then release that down next to your left leg. We'll move on to the other side, beautiful. So bring that left knee into the chest, and then extend it up. You can keep that knee soft. So first when you're here, just take a moment and go slow. Put some energy into that right leg. Shoot the toes up toward the ceiling and then push that right hip down to the ground. So even though we're not moving the left leg a lot out of the hip socket or around, just want you to feel what it's like to have that right hip solidly on the ground before we move. So from here, interlace your hands behind your left knee and then keeping your shoulder blades on the ground and your neck nice and long, bring that left knee, bending the left knee, or keeping it straighter toward your face. Now, later on in the practice, you might have a little bit more warmth and flexibility in the hamstrings and calves, and you could easily keep that leg straight, but there's no reason to do so now. And once your foot is nice and close, go ahead and place your strap on the ball of your left foot, and then extend that leg back out. Get a little more stretch there. Once we have that distance between using the strap, we can get more length and stretch in that hamstring. So from here, place your left hand on the strap, and you can place your right hand either on your right hip or it can be outstretched to the side if you don't need to keep that sort of lever there. And then take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, slowly release your left leg out to the left side, only so far as to keeping your right hip on the ground. Let's take a nice breath here. Feeling that stretch in the inner thigh, starting to wake up the core. One more breath, and then slowly bring it back into the center. Beautiful. Now switching hands. Place your right hand on the strap or band. Your left hand can be palm down, externally stretched out to the side of you. We're going to do the other side. So again, keeping the energy in that right leg and then taking the left leg over to the right side of the body, feeling that stretch in the outer thigh and the IT bands, only so far as to you feel a good stretch. Anything that feels like strain or pain is never good. Keep breathing. Energy in the right leg, shoulder blades on the ground. One more breath. And then carefully and mindfully bringing that left leg back up to center. Bringing the knee in closer, releasing the strap, bringing the knee into the chest. Keep the energy in that right leg. Don't forget about that right leg. And then releasing left leg back down. Beautiful. One breath here. Exhale out of the mouth. Begin to invite a little more movement. So we're going to do a rock and roll here, my favorite thing to do. I do these every morning. So bring both knees into the chest. You can cross your right ankle over your left ankle, and then clasping your knees, start to get a little momentum. You can warm up the spine. You can do a couple of these. You can do a bunch of these. Sort of keep your abs kind of engaged, I would say. And you want to get all of the spine kind of on the ground right before you get sort of to your neck. So be careful, but you'll notice how great this feels and how much space it gets into your spine. One more, and then coming up to stillness. Take a moment there. There's a lot of rocking, a lot of rolling. One more breath. Exhale out of the mouth. The sides are feeling really good. We're going to move into our tabletop. So getting onto all fours, placing your palms beneath your wrists and then situating your knees beneath your hips. Take a moment here to really feel those foundation points. As you ground down through the points of your palms and your knees, your shins and the tops of your feet, you also want to be rising up. So we often say in yoga, root down and rise up. And those two things are complementing each other and happening at the same time. So you press down through the points of foundation, but you find that lift and buoyancy, squeezing those outer hips in, relaxing and softening the upper back, lengthening out the spine, and feeling nice and light. Let's do some cat-cows here. So on our inhale, drop the belly, chest and chin go toward the sky. And then on your exhale, reverse that. Bring the navel to the spine, arch your back like a Halloween cat, stretching out the back of the neck. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. Keep going on your own breath. See how long you can make each breath cycle and how much space that gives you in the spine. The slower we go, the more mindfully we go, we find there's so much more space. Always rushing and we're always busy. But it's truly in the slowing down that we find there's so much more to see. Let's do one more. And then when you're ready, you're going to find your way back to stillness in your neutral tabletop position. Beautiful. So from tabletop, we're going to move into a little bit of a balancing element. So we're going to begin thinking about our balance point as it relates to changing our foundation and working through some different elements of basic balance. So I say the word basic, and yet this is probably one of the most challenging postures for me for a couple of reasons. So do not fret if you are shaky or lopsided like I will be. So as we breathe, lift your left leg up by curling the toes, straightening out the left leg, and finding ourselves in what I like to call 3.5 sort of balance points here. So already your body has had to accommodate and shift. So something new got introduced. What changed as a result? Draw that navel toward the spine and keep squeezing both those hips in toward the midline. Soften that upper back, and then on your next breath, lift the left leg up. And you only want to go to hip height, so the tendency is to, because of proprioception or lack thereof, you might feel that up is up here or moving over, but it's really just a few inches off the ground to find that center point. Take a deep breath here. Exhale out. Now leave that extended. Lift your right hand off the mat, and maybe you extend it diagonally so you've got this sort of counterpoints happening with energy extending all the way from the front of your right fingers out the back of your left toes. One more breath here, squeezing in toward the midline, soften the back. Exhale, right palm down, left knee down. Beautiful, beautiful. If your wrists need a break, you can always come back, hips to your heels, and do a little bit of a wrist stretch. I know that was already kind of a lot going on for the beginning of practice. Let's move on to the other side. So we've got our 4 foundation points essentially, or we're feeling nice and strong, including the shins there as well. And then I want you to curl your right toes up and then stretch your right leg back out straight, keeping it on the ground for now. This gives your body an opportunity to figure out how it's going to prepare for being a little bit more off balance when we lift our right leg up. So give your body that time to find its way. Let's take a deep breath here. Exhale, soften the upper back, and then lift that right leg up a few inches off the ground. As you lift that up, tendency will be for the left hip to kind of pop out. To counter that, you want to squeeze that left hip in as you lift your right leg off the ground. Take a deep breath here. Exhale out. Now lift your left hand. Everything stays the same. Just lift your left hand off the mat, and maybe you extend it out in front of you, thumb to the sky, softening the upper back, thinking about that long line of energy from the left fingertips to the right toes, the right heel. One more breath here, drawing navel to the spine, squeezing everything in. And exhale, left palm down, right knee down. Let's come back sitting on our heels and do one more of those nice wrist stretches before we move on. So I constantly struggle with that posture, and I think so much of it has to do with weakness in the outer hip. So that's an area that we think about in chair pose, and we think about it more overtly in some postures. That's really what's needed there to keep everything holding in. So balance points take interesting things that you wouldn't think contribute. Okay, let's move on. So from our tabletop position, with our nice neutral back and long spine, curl both your toes under, lift your knees 3 inches off the ground, and hover. Deep breaths here. Let's get 3 or 4 in, warming up that core, engaging some of those muscles, and I want you to think about that midline, squeezing everything in, including those outer hips, bringing everything in. One more breath, and then release hips to the sky, downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the day, certainly for me. I'm going to pedal my dog, and you want to make sure that you give yourself enough room in your down dog. So I think sometimes when we're, especially at the beginning of a practice, the tendency is to be a little bit short. And while that's okay to sort of get started, you want to make sure you take up space on your mat. I know that's feedback I always got during my training, was that my down dog was always short. And I think what's interesting is that's likely an indication of tightness in the hamstrings and limitations in other areas of the body. So you can also use that to indicate or tell you something that might be going on. Let's take one more breath here before we come to stillness, aiming those heels toward the mat, soft bent knees, especially at the beginning of practice, externally rotating those outer upper arms, releasing the neck down, and then look forward between your palms, and then bend your knees very generously and tiptoe. How many steps can you take? Keeping your hands where they are, trying to get your feet right in between your hands maybe, and then find yourself in a halfway lift with your knees bent. Nice deep breath in, and then exhale, folding down. From here, we're going to move into ragdoll. So my knees are staying bent this whole time. You really can get a great hamstring stretch. Keep a little activation and squeezing in of those outer hips, moving that torso on top of the thigh, down here, and then clasping opposite elbows. And we're going to switch elbows in just a moment, but for now, use that to really pull yourself forward. Feel the length in your spine as you do that. So take a moment to just feel that. Such a subtle thing. I always thought that ragdoll or uttanasana was always just about the hamstrings, but there's so much length to be gained in the spine. One more breath here. Exhale out, and then switch elbows. So put it on the other way that feels kind of like you put your right shoe on your left foot, and then breathe here for a few breaths. Getting a little more length, keeping those knees generously bent. One more breath. On your exhale, release your palms to the floor, and we're going to roll up super, super slowly. So what I do to really intensify the slowness is I actually graze my hands sort of all the way up my legs and torso, using my core, drawing navel to the spine to bring myself up. Allow your back to be nice and round for this one. Maybe straighten your knees a little bit, not too fast. And all the way up, how slow. And then allow your hands to go above your head, but not too strong. We're still kind of in slow motion land. Bringing your hands through heart center, super slow. And then palms down by your side. Beautiful. So we're going to move into a little bit of a balancing element here. So it's going to seem very basic, but it'll be a great starting point for some of the work we will continue to do through the practice. So first thing I want you to do is just take a moment in Tadasana, so our mountain pose. I want you to ground through all 4 corners of the feet. So first, take a moment, actually think about that. Don't worry about anything else in the body, just think about your feet. Maybe your feet are hips width distance apart, maybe a little bit closer for you for your Tadasana, but really figure out what that means in your body. So many of us have a tendency to roll our feet in or roll our feet out, and our skeletal sort of situation sometimes determines that, sometimes just the way we walk or the way we've developed habits. So just take a moment, ground down evenly. And then from there, I want you to pull up on the kneecaps and then draw the tailbone to the floor. And then I want you to broaden the collarbones and then soften the shoulders. And your palms can be facing you or they can be facing forward. Chin is parallel to the floor. Energy through the crown of your head. How balanced do you feel? Take a deep breath in. Exhale out through the mouth. So let's begin to get on one leg. So what you want to do is just move the weight slightly into the left foot, but you don't want to do it to where everything's kind of popping out of place. We just established this beautiful sort of centered feeling. So maybe you can do a kickstand of the right foot to kind of ease into it. And what you're going to do is you're just going to use, at the same time that you raise your arms up into our Urdhva Hastasana, you're just going to raise your right leg off the ground so that your thigh is parallel. So your knee stays bent. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, stretch your right leg out in front of you. It can be straight. For me with my knee issue today, straight's not happening. And then refine that center in that left foot, just like you had 2 feet on the ground. You may notice there's some twitching and shaking as your stabilizing muscles kick in to keep you balanced. That's you checking in with your body. One more breath. And then exhale your leg back down, hands through heart center. Now you've got 2 feet on the ground again. Feel what that feels like. Exhale, bring your hands down. Okay, let's try the other side. Now that you've done one side, you will notice the differences. We're all a little bit different from side to side. So kickstand that left foot up. Again, drawing the energy up, rooting down through that right foot, but we're lifting up through the rest of our body, and then bringing that knee up, keeping the thigh parallel, arms above you, Urdhva Hastasana, hands. And as you move up, start to figure out what's going on in that right foot and right leg. You can have a soft bend in the knee, but you'll notice how hard that leg is working for you to keep you stabilized. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, bring your left foot down, hands through heart center, 2 feet on the ground again. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to move into a little bit more balancing work. I'm going to face the side. We're going to go into our chair pose. So Utkatasana chair pose, even before we do any sun A, is just for a little bit more of a balancing element. So feet are hips width distance apart, or you can have them a little bit closer where your toes are touching and heels are apart. Sit your hips back, inhale, Utkatasana. So my right knee is definitely mad at me today, so my poses are going to be a little bit less deep than normal, so maybe listen more and watch me less. So hips are pulling back. Maybe you can drop down another inch. Definitely can see your toes. Weight is in the heels. Keep the spine long. Make sure that the goal is to really have length in the upper body, so you've got that weight sitting back, but then you're lifting up strong. Think about that, rooting down and rising up sort of in 2 components of the body. You can use, your arms can be outstretched, externally rotating those outer upper arms, biceps to the ears, but keep the shoulders soft. One more breath here. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold all the way. And then Urdhva Hastasana, root to rise, arms up, shoulders soft. Exhale through heart center and down. So sort of a half sun A, B-ish, half sun ab. Okay, So we're going to move into a little bit more balancing. So Utkatasana again, so chair pose. And in your chair pose, whether you have your arms in prayer or whether you have them up here, have that weight in the heels, dropping the hips back, light and buoyant on the upper half of the body, soft shoulders. Now, move the weight into your left leg. So kickstand your right knee up, and then you're going to bring your right leg out, extending it straight, keeping that left leg in chair, one-legged chair pose. Draw the navel toward the spine, maybe a little bit of sort of that posterior tilt of the pelvis. One more breath here. And then carefully bring that right leg back into chair pose, and we're going to do the other side. So because of my right knee, I'm going to come up a little bit more. You only go down to where you feel safe. Extending that left leg out in front, balancing one-legged chair on the right side. Squeeze those outer hips in. Let the bottom half of your body do the work. The top is light and soft. One more breath. And back to center and release. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale all the way down, and then Urdhva Hastasana, root to rise. Feel nice and light. Hands to heart center and down by your side. Nice. So we're going to use that as we move throughout our practice a little bit more. So keep that in mind. Meet me at the top of your mat. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Palms to the floor, step your right foot back and your left foot back. Drop your knees or move through plank, dropping down. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or Cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Breath here in and out. Look forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Meet me in a halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands through heart center. Down by your side. Beautiful. Let's do one more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. Knees can be bent. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms down. Maybe you do left foot and then right foot this time. Pitching forward, squeezing those elbows in. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breath here in and exhale. Look forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Meet me in a halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. And hands back down to your side. Beautiful. Let's keep going, moving into a Sun B variation. So, inhale, chair pose. We were here before. In your chair pose, I want you to balance. Kickstand that right leg up, balancing on your left, extending out forward, and then dropping that right foot back. Drop, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to the floor. Plank pose or through your tabletop. Inhale, squeeze the elbows in, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Deep breath here, inhale. Exhale, lift your right leg up, hip height, so pretty low. Knee to nose, inhale. Exhale, back out. Knee to your left tricep, and then back out. Knee to your right tricep, back out. Breath for every movement. Now through the middle, drop your right foot down between your palms. Squeeze those outer hips in. Take a moment. Drop that left foot down, 45-degree angle all the way up, warrior one. Deep breath here. Exhale out. Now drop your palms down, and I want you to bring your left foot back facing forward, and then bend your knee, pop yourself up into the front of your mat, into your chair pose. Chair pose, hold it both legs. Now again, pop your right foot up, balancing on the left side, extending your right leg out in front of you, one-legged chair pose. Squeeze that outer hip in. One more breath here. One more breath, and bring your right foot back down. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, right foot or left foot back. Move through your chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, Adho. Beautiful. So looking forward between your palms, hop, step, and float to the front of your mat. Meet me in a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Just for a breath. And then all the way up, hands up. Exhale through heart center and down by your side. Beautiful. Let's do the other side. Inhale, chair pose. Weights in the heels. Drop those hips down. Top of the body is light and soft. One more breath. Now kickstand. Left toes up. I have to come up a little from my knee. Extending the left leg out in that one-legged chair pose, squeezing the outer hips in, drawing the navel to the spine, maybe a little bit of a posterior tilt. Soften the shoulders. One more breath. One more breath. And bringing it back into chair pose, and then release all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, both palms to the floor. Back through your chaturanga or tabletop with knees down. Urdhva Mukha or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. One breath here. Exhale out. Lift your left leg up, hip height. Lift your knee to your nose. One breath. Lift your knee to your left tricep. Might have done it in the opposite direction this way. Lift your left knee to your right tricep. One more. All the way back out. Left knee to your nose, and then drop your foot between your palms more to the left side. Squeeze the outer hips in. Push through your foundation, and then drop your right foot down all the way up, warrior one. Take a deep breath here. Exhale out, palms through heart center. Drop your palms down on either side of your mat. Bring your hip parallel, and then you're gonna bring your right knee up into chair pose. Come up to your chair pose. Kickstand that left foot, keeping that right knee bent. Extending the left leg forward. Navel to the spine. Can you drop down another inch? Is the weight in that right heel? One-legged chair. One more breath. And back into your chair pose. Let it go. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the floor. Back through your chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breath here. One breath. Exhale. Looking forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roots to rise. And hands through heart center. And down by your side. Really nice job, guys. Really nice. All right, let's do one more. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Let it go. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, back down. Right and left, or left and right, you choose. Squeezing those elbows in, pitching forward. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right leg up. Bring your knee to your nose. Just this one time, this time. Kind of arch that Halloween back. Drop your right foot down. 45-degree angle with your left foot coming up into your warrior one pose just for a moment. Inhale here. Exhale, hands through heart center. Move into warrior two. So the three-step process we talked about last week. So heel toe, that right foot over to the left. Open the torso to the side, and then adjust that back leg so you have that slice. Right heel through the left leg. Arms outstretched. Take up space. Let your lungs fill up. Let your body fill up the mat. One more breath here. Now, I want you to move into our side angle. So pivoting just the upper body up out of the waist and over that right leg, and then drop your right hand so your right forearm is on your right thigh, and extending that left arm up. Legs don't change. Legs don't change. They're rooting down, they're supporting you, holding you up. This upper body is super light. One more breath here. And lifting back up, warrior two, legs don't change. Flip that right palm, drop the left palm onto your left leg, reverse warrior. I have to come a little bit up for my knee today. You want to keep your knee bent, tracking over that right ankle. One more breath. Back to your warrior two pose. Cartwheel your hands down to the front of your mat. Turn that hip back to parallel. And then I want you to move that left leg up back to the front like we did before. Chair pose. Let it go. Exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, all the way down, moving back through your chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, left leg. Left leg up, hip height, just the one time through the nose. Super high arch, hold it there. Hold it there. I'm gonna switch sides, hold it there. And then drop it between your palms, squeezing everything in, rooting down, then drop that right foot down, 45-degree angle, warrior one. One breath here. And we're moving into our warrior two. Hands to heart center, 3-step process. Heel toe with the left foot, opening that torso, and then adjusting that back leg, taking up space on your mat, feeling that stretch in the collarbones. One more deep breath here in your warrior two. And then we're going to be moving into our side angle. So lifting up out of the waist, tilting over that left leg, and then when you can't go any farther, dropping that left forearm on to the top of the left thigh, making sure that left knee is tracking over that left ankle, and then peel open the right side body, extending your right arm up. Wherever you are, keep breathing. Get a couple of smooth breaths in here. And then lifting back up to your warrior two. One good breath here. Flipping the left palm over, right palm hits the back of your right leg, reverse warrior. And then back down, cartwheel the hands back to the ground, makes the hips parallel, and then pop that right leg up to the front, chair pose. Just a breath, drop down, halfway lift, and then all the way back through your chaturanga, or you can do your tabletop, squeeze those elbows in. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's do a child's pose. Time for a reset. You can choose to have your knees closer together, or knees could be the width of the mat. Drop your heels down, palms to the floor, forehead to the floor. Let's take 3 good deep breaths here. On your next breath, move your body up into a tabletop position. Curl your toes under, lift your knees off the ground slightly, kick back into your downward dog, and then just find your way into a standing position however you want to arrive there. So you kind of come through a half sun A, see what your body is needing as we move into one more balancing act. So we're going to move into Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, and there are a couple of options here that a strap will definitely help with. So something I learned this week from one of my very favorite teachers, Nikki, is a trick that I had actually never heard of that I do think made the posture a little bit more accessible. So what I want to do is let's start in, I'll face you guys, so we can start in just a forward fold. So we can move arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, and stay in your forward fold for just a moment. And maybe to the side will help make this more clear. But something that she pointed out to me that I had never understood was in this posture, I was always trying to keep my leg exactly straight and exactly as it was positioned, hip to here. You can stand up maybe because it's awkward to watch me do this while you're also bending over. But what she showed me was as I move into this and I clasp onto, using my yogi toe grip, something that I'm going to do is actually kind of move the leg into the hip socket, kind of shortening it before I pull my leg up. So if I work in that regard, keeping a soft bent knee on the left side, placing my left hand in my left hip crease, lengthening my neck, softening shoulders, and then bringing that up as I work to move this forward, it's so much more accessible. So in comparison, to show you what I used to do, I used to just sort of keep that completely straight and then just sort of like it would leave me, kind of look like that. So let's all give it a try together. So let's start in our forward fold. So inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. And then kind of halfway lift, soften both your knees. Yogi toe grip on your left toe. So 2 peace fingers in between your first and second toe, thumb capped on the top. Soften the right knee. And then kind of, as she says, suck that leg into the hip socket before you move up. So place your right hand into your right hip crease and then pull that leg up and then slowly bring that forward. You want to keep that right hip down, aim for that nice long spine. And maybe one day your leg is straight, and maybe one day you're all the way out to the side. You can also use a strap with this. Make sure you come down carefully and safely. You can also use a strap with this. This is not ideal. This band is not really ideal for trying that right now. But make sure you try the other side as well, and I'll do it with you. So inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. From here, I'm going to soften both knees, place my left hand on my left hip crease, yogi toe grip on the right side. Again, soft left knee. And then I'm going to move the weight into my left side. Find my balancing point, right? And then suck that right leg up, kind of shorten it, and then use that so that my center of gravity is what's pulling me up instead of my leg leading me. And try to get a nice long spine. And then one day maybe that leg is straight. And then maybe one day it's all the way out here. Wherever you are, find some smooth breath. And then when you're ready, carefully come back down the way you came. Hope you are all trying that on at home. I was super excited to hear that tip. Nikki is the best. Let's take one quick sun salutation and just get ourselves ready to move on to the floor. So inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, palms to the floor. Back into your plank pose, pitching forward, elbows in, Urdhva Hastasana or Cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana through our downward dog, and then find yourself in a seated position of your choice. Just kidding, not your choice. We're going to move into boat. So from here, we're seated. We're going to do a quick core series. So the best thing about Navasana is when I learned that I was always doing it way wrong when my legs were straight. So legs bent for me all the way. So find your sits bones. That's the first thing you want to do. Kind of wiggle around and find those. From there, that's where you're going to figure out how much space your legs are going to give your spine. So I lift my legs up here. I can still have a nice long spine. Once this happens, this happens. So find your sits bones. Bring your legs up. Find that place where you can have your balance point, and then that's where you're going to be. So from here, I'm going to bring my hands to heart center. I'm going to maybe extend a little bit, and we're actually going to go into from hands to heart center, and then open arms. So close arms, and then drop down and hover above the mat. Let's do 10 of these. 10. Move the arms as well. 9, 8, 7, 6, you guys are doing great. 5, 4, 3, 2, one more, hold it, hold it, hold it. Now flutter kick your legs. 10, 9, 8, 7, you can bring your hands in if you want. I think that's harder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Great job. Totally threw that in there at the end. You're welcome. So we're going to move into a quick figure 4 on the back and do a little bit of a hip stretch, and then we're going to wind all the way down. So move your right knee into the chest. Just a moment for half Apanasana. And then place that right foot down on the mat flat with your left knee facing up. Extend the left leg up, cross it over like you're crossing your legs. left outer ankle over the top of the right knee. And now, if this is enough for you, you'll know, because if you press against your left thigh, you'll get a lot of pulling and stretching in that left outer hip and IT band, and this is a perfect place for you to stay. If you want a little bit more, you can raise that right leg off the ground, move your hands sort of in this window you've kind of created, interlace the hands behind the right thigh, use your left forearm to push against your left leg, and then slowly bring that whole situation toward your face. Get some smooth, deep breaths in here. The hips hold so much of our memories and our tension and stress. It's the neck and the hips. I mean, we all know this because Shakira told us that the hips don't lie, and it's true, they don't. Take 2 more breaths here. Carefully release your right foot back down to the mat. Uncross your left leg. Maybe you stretch it up and then back down to the mat. You can come back out the way you came, bringing your right knee in for just a moment. Just a breath. And then releasing it back down. And then inhale that left leg into the chest for just the same sweet little moment. Breath here. And then placing your left foot down on the ground, knee facing up, right leg to the sky, crossing the right knee over, taking a moment here to find out if this is your balance point. If this is where you want to stay and this feels good to you, press against that right leg, feel that stretch in the outer hip. This might be enough. You're the only one that knows when it's enough. If you want a little bit more, bring your left foot off the ground. Place your right hand and left hand on either side of your left leg. Interlace your fingers around the back of your left thigh and use your right arm to push against the inside of that right leg, bringing that whole situation toward your face. Keeping your shoulder blades on the ground, your neck long and soft. And then breathe. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And when you're ready, release your left foot back down to the ground, uncross your right leg, maybe stretching that out for just a moment, and then dropping that right knee onto the ground, and then bringing the left knee into the chest for just one little breath. And then releasing your left leg back down to the earth, and move into a twist. Bringing your right knee into the chest, maybe move your hips over slightly to the right, crossing that right leg over, and then twisting open to the right. If you have blocks handy, great place for blocks to come into the story. You can place this under your knee to bring the earth to you. Aim to keep your shoulder on the ground, twisting the spine, wringing out anything that doesn't serve you. One more smooth breath here. And slowly bringing that right knee back into the chest, extending the right leg back down to the ground. And then bringing your left knee into the chest, and maybe moving your hips over just an inch or two to the left, and then crossing that left leg over the right side body and peeling open to the left, aiming to keep your shoulder to the ground, twisting that spine, releasing anything that doesn't serve you. One more deep breath here. And slowly untwist, coming back to Apanasana, both knees into the chest. Maybe you move into a happy baby, placing your arms on the inside and hands on the outside, rolling a little bit on the back. Maybe you clasp your ankles, maybe you're rocking, maybe you're straightening one leg, straightening the other. Just giving a last little bit of love in our movement phase before we move into stillness. And when you're ready, bring both the knees in. Maybe bring your neck and head off the floor. Curling yourself into a tiny little ball. One deep breath in. And exhale, let it all go. Shavasana. In your Shavasana pose, again, you let the earth support you. Here, there is no need to navigate the balance point. As you release the need to control the breath, allowing it to return to its natural rhythm, everything is perfectly balanced. Continue breathing here, and I will let you know when it's time to come back. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Slowly bring movement into your hands and your feet. And try to keep as much of your body on the earth as long as possible as you carefully roll over onto one side. Take a nice deep breath here on your side. And carefully keeping your eyes closed, bring yourself up to a seated position, and we will begin to close our practice together. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for honoring what your body needed today. I hope that you enjoyed your practice this evening and considered the idea of the balance point, not only in our yoga practice, but how important it is to recognize it in our lives. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Thumbs to your third eye. We bow together, namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. It was such an honor to lead you tonight. I can't wait to see you again next week. Have a great week.